Hey guys, welcome to Rising Stars. I'm your interim host, Sean Watt. I'm taking over for Michael while he's away for the next little while. Our production is sponsored by Urban Eats MTL. I have the absolute honor to present our next guest to you guys, Salomé.
Hi.
What a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you so much.
So, your name, right off the bat,
Yeah.
that is such a foreign name. Where does that originate from?
So it's a name that appears in the Bible. It's also has roots in Hebrew.
Hebrew.
Yeah, but it's actually quite common in France. So Salomé is very, Oscar Wilde has a play called Salomé as well. Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, my mom's French, so.
So are you born and raised in France, or are you born here in Montreal?
No, I was born in the U.S. And
U.S.
I
Which
moved
part?
around a lot in Boston.
Boston. You don't have the accent, though.
No, I didn't live there very long.
No?
Yeah.
So where'd you go from Boston?
I went to Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And then I went to Tanzania, lived in New York after
Tanzania,
that.
whoa,
yeah, Cambodia,
okay.
and then France.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then Montreal.
And then Montreal.
So
yeah.
why all the moving? Was it?
Yeah, my parents loved moving. They both
I can
work.
tell.
They both worked in like social impact
Yeah.
and development projects, NGOs, things like that. So,
Wow.
yeah, that was
So do you have the travel bug as well?
a little bit. Yeah, yeah.
So you're always on the go?
Yeah,
Like
I remember-
wanting to go travel, hike, road
Yeah.
trips? Is that-
Yeah, I'm also more like go with the flow, so I have no idea what I'm going to do later. I'm just, when opportunities arise, I'm happy to move wherever and live wherever, and
Wow.
I know I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I've
that's
done
cool.
something very similar to that, actually.
Really?
I lived in South America for 5 years.
Oh, cool.
In Patagonia. So I
Okay.
don't know if you know anything about the area.
No.
Obviously, there's like land Patagonia.
Yeah.
When I wear it, I can wear it proudly saying I live there.
Yeah.
Patagonia is beautiful.
Yeah.
So I'd recommend that if you ever have the opportunity, go travel to Patagonia. How long have you been acting for?
My dad put me in a play when I was 8 years old. He was like, here, I think you'll enjoy it, and I did.
Okay, you did. Okay,
yeah.
good.
So I've been acting sort of on and off since then.
Okay.
It's been more of a hobby most of my life, sort of after school activities, something to kind of keep me doing something.
Yeah.
But more recently, I've sort of shifted focus and wanted to pursue it more professionally.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so what shifted that focus?
I loved it, one,
Yeah.
and then during COVID, I really wasn't able to do much. I think like many artists, and then I arrived at McGill and I did a play, and I was like, wow, I really, really love doing this.
Yeah.
And I lived in a city that had a lot of artistic opportunities for
New York,
actors.
I imagine.
Sorry?
New York, I imagine.
Well, no, in Montreal, when I arrived in Montreal.
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
New York,
good.
I was really small, so
Okay.
I wasn't doing anything.
Okay.
But yeah, when I moved to Montreal almost 3 years ago, I did that play. I loved it, and I realized I was at a point in my life where I had the stability to pursue acting more seriously.
Okay.
So yeah, here I am.
So wait, let's take a step back. You studied at McGill.
I am studying.
Congrats. That's
Oh,
it's a
thank
pretty
you.
big school. Apparently it's an Ivy school,
Yeah.
here in Canada,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
great. So,
Ivy of the North, yeah.
okay, so which program are you studying there?
I'm studying in economics.
Economics.
Yeah.
And do you still want to pursue that career and have acting as a hobby, or?
I really love. I'm studying economics to go into also social impact, working in NGOs, things
Okay.
like that. So I'd love to do that part time, and then I'd love to act part time, and then
Yeah.
kinda
Make it
see-
full-time.
Yeah, make acting full time if it's possible, while still having roots and doing projects in the
Okay.
social impact. That's really important to me. So
Okay.
it's not something I want to let go of.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
of course not. No. So you were talking about doing a play at McGill.
Mm-hmm.
How did that come about? How was that opportunity presented to you? Was it like an open casting, and you're like, oh, I want to go audition for it,
Mm-hmm.
or how did that work?
Yeah, they're mostly open castings at McGill.
Okay.
So this was back in 2021, and
Yeah.
I don't remember if I saw it on Facebook or an email, but I found it and auditioned for it and did it, and it was very small. It was, it was a play with TNC, which is one of the smaller sort of theater companies at McGill.
Okay.
But no, it really got me back into acting. It was a fun role, and I met great people.
What was the role?
It was for a play called Overtones. And
Overtones.
Yeah, very niche, very. Yeah, but it was about two women who were getting together for tea, and they had these personalities that were these almost like little devils or little whatever they were thinking, their intrusive thoughts were in human form. And I had this person behind me who would like whisper things in my ear to kind of and like tell the audience what I was really thinking. And
the devil on your
exactly,
shoulder.
yeah. It was really
and you're spilling the tea. Right.
Yeah.
So when you auditioned for that, tell me about the process, because I don't know if you had prior theater training to doing that audition, or were you just ambitious and you believed in yourself and you're like, okay, I'm going to do it. Why not?
Yeah. I mean, I had some theater training, but very unprofessional, like from school classes, after school.
That's still training,
projects.
though.
Yeah, no, it's still, for sure. Like,
Yeah.
it helped me a lot. And going into this, I was given a monologue, and at that point, I already knew the steps to kind of dissecting it and memorizing it and playing around with different characters.
What about like the body work for theater, though? Because I know that's very, and you need to be like this. So how did you prepare for that?
Well, I've done dancing in the past.
Oh, well then, no
so
problem.
It was okay, yeah. So yeah, I just kind of got back into that.
Do you remember how many pages it was that you had to try to memorize?
I mean, it was a little paragraph, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't anything big.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still, would you say when it comes to memorizing lines, so it could be film, television, theater, is it a struggle in terms of trying to find a way to connect with your script, or do you find a way to seamlessly connect with the script and bring that into your character?
Memorizing lines can be hard for me because it's not what I find the most interesting in the process. So I love like, it's easier if I'm connected to the script and I'm connected to the character, for sure. But I do use it, I sort of memorize and understand my character at the same time. And that helps me kind of go through the process more seamlessly. And yeah.
So if I were to challenge you, and if I was like a producer who's a jerk, and I'm like, I'm going to give you a script that you can never connect to, how would you still put in the work to try to do your best, you know, put your best foot forward and do this role justice? Would you be able to, or would it still be a struggle? Or
I think so. I think it'd take me time. Something I love doing is, I love doing research on my characters, sort of finding other characters who are similar and sort of taking what I can from other people, being inspired from other pieces of art, and then also, you know, merging that with what I'm reading from the script. I've never really had to do that, so I don't know what it would be like. Not yet.
You might have that opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
When it comes to a lot of the audition process, you will receive scripts eventually where it's like, you look at it and you're like, I don't want to do it, but it's part of my responsibility as an actor, and it'd be very contradicting in terms of who, you know, being a storyteller, because that's part of your job, right?
Yeah.
So it's, I don't know if it's kind of frowned upon if one's like, well, I don't want to audition for that. Well, you're getting the opportunity because someone sees something in you for that part, right?
Yeah.
So it's important you just take pride in it, find a way to connect to that script, and then go from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have any experience in film, television?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing student short films for the past 8 months.
Okay, so how did you get into that?
Facebook.
Okay, because I know when I started acting, it was like, how do I sell myself when I have no experience?
I know, yeah.
How did you do it?
I got lucky. I mean, like, that's kind of what it is. I got good headshots. I think that helped a lot. It made me look really professional. I had a CV and I put what I had, my theater experience, in there. And, you know, the CV also looked professional. I think that also helps a lot for
So you did your research.
Facebook.
Obviously, you're incredibly intelligent, because not a lot of people would do that. I think when I made a really, really bad rookie mistake. I remember when I first started getting into acting, I literally sent my CV for work.
Oh, really?
And then I got a response back from Toronto, and they're like, great CV. And I'm like, thanks, guys. And that was a big mistake, right? And then I started doing all my research and this and that. So do you still remember that first production that you did for the student film?
Yeah.
What was it?
It was like a short horror film for
horror?
a film contest.
Oh, nice. No pressure.
Yeah.
Okay.
But for a like online film contest for something that had gone viral on TikTok, and it wasn't for school. It was just a student they were students, but they wanted to do this project on the side.
Yeah. Okay.
And my role was a sort of stereotypical mean girl who ended up getting murdered. So,
Oh my God.
yeah, it was
It's
interesting.
like 13 Reasons Why almost. Whoa. So did you have to go in depth with that character, or was it sort of natural for you to be like, oh, yeah, I could play the mean girl?
No, I had a little bit of trouble, to be honest, and it was my
Why?
first. I don't, the sort of like mean girl with a lot of confidence, I have trouble kind of tapping into, or a lot of external confidence rather.
Yeah.
I had trouble tapping into. It wasn't a character that I had sort of explored in the past in theater, and wasn't really one.
It's also
that
your
I
first
wanted.
role.
It was also my first role. Yeah, no, exactly.
When you're on film and television, you have to stay like so
Yeah.
subtle and still, right?
Yeah.
And you need to
Yeah.
not move your head back and forth. So,
Yeah.
so I'm sure that must have been a challenge for you as well,
Yeah.
transitioning from theater to.
Yeah,
You're-
it was, although I've always been told my acting would suit film better.
Really?
I'm not.
That's good.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't love being huge, so I like focusing on the minute expressions, on small sort of movements or tics that characters will
Details,
have.
huh?
The details, yeah, and you can't see that on stage, and that was something that always frustrated me about theater. But I never had the opportunity to explore film, so
Okay.
yeah.
So if after you did that first production, is there any one of those short films that really sticks out to you, where it's like you're just proud of your performance and you can applaud yourself and pat yourself on the back for all the work that you did?
Yeah.
Yeah? Which one?
There was one of the longest films I've done, and my
long
first
was
big
it?
lead. I think it's gonna be about. I haven't received it yet, but
Okay.
I think it's gonna be about 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
It's pretty decent.
Yeah.
It goes by fast though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I played the lead, and it was for a student short film at Travis University.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I'm proud of what I
What
did.
was the role? Or you can't give spoilers yet till it comes out, or?
No, I mean the role. It was the story of two sisters who sort of are forced to reconnect after the death of their father,
Okay.
who created a sort of abusive household that led the older sister to kind of run off and abandon her younger sister in that space because she needed that. And I played the younger sister, so I kind of, after the death of the father, I show up and confront her about not being there and not showing up to the funeral and all of that. And so it was all very raw, very emotional. But I
It sounds
loved my
intense
experience.
emotionally. Yeah.
But I loved my experience and filming. I loved the crew. I loved the cast. And
Yeah. The crew and stuff at Travis, they're incredible.
They are.
Yeah.
They're so
really are,
dedicated.
and
Yeah.
they're gems in this industry. I wish more people were like them here,
Yeah.
but I'm glad that they're here.
Yeah.
So,
For sure.
okay, so you've done that role. Where are you training right now?
I'm not sure. I'm kind of at this point where I'm happy to be doing short films, continuing to do that.
Okay.
I'd also love to do something a little bit more professional.
Okay.
I'm currently in a play. I'm
Nice.
keeping my options open.
So you're staying busy.
I'm staying busy,
Yeah.
when I can, where I can.
Busy's good in the industry.
Yeah,
When it goes quiet, you start to doubt yourself,
Yeah.
and then your inner demons start saying, "I'm not good enough." But that's
For
the
sure.
contrary. You just need to have that sense of belief,
yeah,
right?
yeah. It's hard to have, but once you
Once you get it,
Once you
though,
get it's-
you add
it changes everything.
gasoline to your own fire.
Yeah,
So every gig that you do, you just go back to, okay, I can do it, and
Yeah.
you feed yourself,
for
right?
sure. Yeah.
It's a very humble thing to do. I could recommend some classes for you.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's one that's called MTL Improv.
Okay. Cool.
So it's just improv classes, and it's just a way of working on improv.
Yeah.
So it's comedy stuff. It's just a bunch of people that come together, and there's level 1, level 2, and
Okay.
it's long form,
Nice.
short form.
Yeah.
Affordable prices.
Okay.
Amazing instructors, very welcoming.
Okay.
Sort of like as if you were here at Travis.
Okay.
Right? They're
cool.
just so
Yeah,
heartwarming, and it's, you
Yeah.
feel wanted and loved and cared for there. I would recommend them. MSOPA, so
Okay.
Montreal School of Performing Arts.
Okay.
Again, affordable classes within budget. They can do payment plans if you're, tight with your budget. And just amazing instructors, and they'll have Foundation 1, Foundation 2, Voiceover 1, 2, different character work, cold read.
Yeah.
I'd recommend just try to go through all their classes there and then
Okay.
sort of expand on, different coaches or different classes, because we live in a world of technology right now.
Yeah.
So you can do classes or with anybody around
Yeah.
the world, essentially,
Yeah, which is
right?
cool. Yeah.
So I would start building on, the essentials of acting, and then see where your weaknesses are. Because when you do those classes, foundation 1, 2, it's one of those classes would be monologues. Second would be scene work,
Yeah.
and every week you'll have a different scene partner. Then there's audition classes and this and that, where it's like they'll treat it like a real audition, and then you'll see the playback footage.
That's cool.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I would recommend doing that, and then obviously staying busy to see where your craft has developed from those classes and apply it to,
Yeah.
these short
The work.
films and things like
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's something that I would do.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Where would you see yourself? Let's say 5 years down the road. Do you see yourself here in Montreal, Toronto, anywhere else in the world doing acting? Because you could really do it anywhere where
Yeah.
English is available, right?
Yeah,
You can go to the UK,
exactly.
Ireland, wherever you want.
Yeah. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, because I've moved around a lot, I'm so open to anything and to living anywhere. I am American, so I could live in the U.S. if I wanted to.
Do you have dual citizenship?
Not with Canada, but with France. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
So potentially staying in Canada could be interesting. I love Montreal.
Yeah.
I've never been to Vancouver though.
Yeah,
So,
I heard it's very expensive, and
yeah.
I don't know if you're a fan of spiders or not, but they have
No.
black widows there,
Okay.
which are kind of that's scary.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
for that reason, I try to stay away from
Okay.
Vancouver. I've been in LA,
Okay.
and in LA, if you go during the wintertime, there's no scorpions, there's
Oh,
no
that's
black
good.
widows, thank God.
Yeah.
So those are usually the times that I'll go there. But
Yeah.
Vancouver, aside from that, I heard is beautiful.
Yeah.
Just expensive.
I'd love to
so-
go. To see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think for a studio, it's about like 2,000. I think.
Yeah.
Which is like through the roof, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. But Montreal's getting up there, I feel like, as well.
slowly but surely.
Slowly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I'd love to live in the U.S. potentially. I loved living in New York, so going back there, I think would be really
A lot of
special
theater
and
there on
interesting.
Broadway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can probably try to do some auditions and things like that there.
Yeah.
And have you ever had an audition horror story, where it's like kind of just like an audition went so wrong
No, not yet.
or bad or
Yeah, I mean, like I've had my fair share of that wasn't very good sort of auditions.
Okay.
But nothing unexpected. Like nobody's ever asked me to sing unexpectedly or asked me to dance or do anything bizarre. So
Weird.
Weird, yeah.
Okay.
No, it's been good. So
Is there a
far.
reason why sometimes when you go back to those moments where it's like, ooh, that wasn't good? Was it because maybe you were overthinking or something happened there?
I am a big overthinker.
Okay.
I deal still a lot with like anxiety and things like that. So I'm still kind of getting over that hurdle and getting
Okay.
through that. But otherwise, there were also times where I was a bit naive about how easy it was, perhaps.
Yeah.
You know?
I know.
Yeah, where I was just like, oh, like I can read this text once and then, I don't have, I didn't, know the process fully and how to kind of
Yeah, a
get
lot of
through it.
people assume that acting is
Yeah.
easy, but
Yeah.
it's
No, it's not.
it's a reality check.
Yeah.
As soon as you start doing those acting classes, you're like, it's a lot harder.
Yeah,
than
and
I
there's
thought.
and like you can be good not putting a lot of work in, but to be great, that requires years of training.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and
yeah.
persistence and
Yeah.
belief and just consistency.
Yeah,
And I think that's the key
consistency
is
is
just
huge.
keep going at it, and
Yeah,
eventually you'll get and book more work, and everything will work out.
yeah,
So you'll notice when you start taking these acting classes after you do, like, let's say you go to MSOPA. After the first 2 acting classes, within a couple of years, you'll see most people just dropping out.
interesting.
Yeah, they don't stay in it for the long run, and then in the more advanced classes, you'll see those that are really passionate and dedicated, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, that's sort of a reality check as well, and a lot of it is societal pressure.
Yeah,
Life's expensive. People
It
are
is.
getting real jobs, studying
Yeah.
whatever else, right?
Yeah.
So
no, it's a hard industry to be in.
it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, just
But-
stay determined, and
yeah.
it's all gonna work out. Yeah. So, what are some of your dream roles? What are something that you'd love to do? Like, if I can give you a piece of paper, and
Yeah.
I'm your producer, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, what's your dream role? What would you want?
Have you seen a series called Made?
Made.
Yeah.
Can't say I have.
With
No.
Margaret Qualley. It's it talks about a woman sort of escaping an abusive relationship with her daughter, and then ending like living in poverty, but not being able to live at home, and just exploring a lot of these issues that aren't talked about a lot. And so I'd love working on a project like that. It's really important for me to shine light on issues that, you know, get dismissed or are taboo, things like that. It's part of why I also want to work in social impact, is to help change the world, you know?
Yeah.
So I'd love to do that through acting. Otherwise, I also love like fantasy roles, anything like Narnia, Harry Potter, anything where I can kind of escape into another universe would be awesome.
Yeah.
So either of those, yeah.
What if I were to cast you in Harry Potter, and not speaking about gender bias, so you can be a male or female character, is there a character in particular that you'd like from Harry Potter?
I don't know. I love so many. Yeah. Every character is just so like, has so much depth to it and brings like their own.
But if you can bring your own take to a character.
Yeah.
You know, you could be Hermione, you could be Harry Potter, you could be, you know, Dumbledore if you want.
Dumbledore would be fun.
For like female Dumbledore.
Yeah, I think that would be really fun, because Dumbledore has like so many secrets, and you like have really no idea where his past
sort of
and things like that.
mysterious.
Very mysterious, yeah. But also kind of swoops in at the right moments. And
I was always fascinated with Quidditch. I thought that was cool.
Yeah,
I was like, I would love to be on like Team Hufflepuff or Hufflepuff or Ravenclaw. I think everyone always goes for Gryffindor and stuff like that.
Well, there are people who play Quidditch. McGill has a little Quidditch team, in case you're ever interested in checking that out. Yeah.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it sounds so geeky, and any geek can come out. And, Okay, nice. Yeah. So you'd want to do that. Let's talk about superhero movies. What about superhero?
Superhero movies.
If you watch them, if you don't.
Yeah. No, I don't watch them that much. Okay. But yeah, I mean, it isn't the first thing I'd want to do, but they are interesting. They're just a little bit too cliche now. Yeah.
I know. Moment. It's oversaturated.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a phase that's going to move over to something else. Yeah. It's bound to occur eventually, right?
Yeah, and it's just that, Marvel's been like spitting out movie after movie after movie, and it's
too rushed.
It's too much, yeah. Yeah.
So, speaking on, the roles that you would love to do, what about roles you would never want to do or touch?
Anything slapstick. Like slapstick comedy. It's not very big anymore, but anything where it's like I'm not a huge fan of that sort of acting.
No.
Yeah, no.
So like what about like a sitcom?
Sitcoms maybe,
like How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, How I Met Your
Bang
Mother
Theory,
I liked. Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. I think I'd be interested in that.
Yeah.
I think it would be a fun experience to have a live audience there. If they
That's
still
kind of cool.
Yeah, it is cool. And the multicam, and it feels more like a play than it does a show. Like
even though they have little signs saying laugh. Yeah. They all start laughing. I'm like, I know I'm funny.
Yeah. So yeah, that I'd be interested in. But anything where it's like too much, like a lot of like body work for comedy and
it's timing.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. That's the secret to comedy is timing.
Yeah.
Once you figure out the rhythm and the timing, then you know your character, boom, everything comes out and it's already funny.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's when you have irregular timing where it's like, okay, you're hit or miss. Sometimes you're funny, sometimes you're not. Maybe that's just a character. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
No, comedy's always something that I've avoided because I thought I'm not funny, I don't think I could do it, but I definitely overestimated how difficult it is because all the work is already done for you. The scripts are usually hilarious. They have kind of jokes packed in. The situation's funny, and just learning that comedy is about just being real and in the moment, like any other kind of genre.
And like you've
changed
never heard
everything
it for the first
me.
time.
Yeah, changed everything for me. And I was like, oh wait, this is actually something I can potentially go into.
Have you done anything comedic?
Yeah, I've done a couple comedic short films. Did like a comedic commercial.
How'd you do with it? What was the commercial?
It was for a peanut butter protein cookie for gamers.
That's cool.
It was cool. Yeah, it was fun.
It. Yeah.
It was one of the first things I did, and I loved that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long was that shoot?
That shoot was maybe 4 hours. It wasn't too bad. It was for
It's usually how commercial is.
yeah, exactly, like a 20-30 second commercial that they ended up on Instagram.
So what did you end
something.
up doing for it? Like
In terms of
for your role, what was your role? Were you like the gamer girl? And then you
no,
had,
I was a wife who was sort of convincing telling my husband, oh, you need to eat healthier, like try this cookie, and he tried it and like ends up loving it. And
of course, you're selling.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
cookie. Cool. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, it was fun. Yeah.
That's a cool role.
No,
Yeah.
I loved it.
I've met a few friends who did like a Cheetos commercial. And
Oh, yeah?
Oh, that is awesome.
That is cool.
Flaming hot
Flaming hot
Cheetos all the
Cheetos,
way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me a little bit more about who you are as a person. So in terms of like hobbies, things like that, what do you like to do?
Yeah. Well, between school and acting, I don't have a lot of other things that I can fit in because I'm also a full-time student still at McGill.
Yeah.
But I love rock climbing.
Okay.
I play soccer, an intramural sport.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, which is fun. I read a lot.
Yeah.
So
Anything in particular?
no, I mean like fictions, classic fictions, or
Fantasy books, by the sounds of it.
sometimes fantasy.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I mean, I'm in university still, so I go out a lot with friends and just connecting with people and
Yeah.
socializing. Yeah.
Having a life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so going back to the fantasy world, have you ever read Game of Thrones or watched the series?
No, I haven't actually.
Whoa.
I know. Yeah.
Okay, I watched it for the first time
Yeah?
this year, and hands down one of the best series I've ever
Really?
seen. And
Okay.
I had no reference in terms of the books. I
Okay.
stayed away from the books.
Yeah.
So when everyone was complaining about the last season, oh yeah, this and that, I get why people are complaining, but also I don't get it because you can tell it's rushed.
Yeah.
You know the
Yeah.
season's rushed, but I had no material to
Yeah.
reference from, so I was fine. I was
Okay.
okay
Yeah,
with how
good.
everything went, and I was like, and I'm not one to complain, so
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's been on my list. I have to get there, but it's true. It's very long, so
Yeah.
I'm worried. Like,
Oh no, trust me, you'll get through it real
yeah.
quick.
Okay.
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
That's good.
and it's a lot of fun, and it's
Okay,
really,
cool.
really interesting and intriguing, and the characters have so much depth, and
Yeah.
you'll love it completely.
Yeah. Thanks.
What about a skill that you'd like to learn?
A skill I'd like to learn.
Yeah. That you can apply to acting or just
Yeah.
in life in general?
Yeah. I mean, like there's some things I've done in the past. I mean, I surf sometimes and like
You surf?
Yeah.
Are you good at it? Like,
Well, no, I'd love to get better. I'd love to
okay.
get better at certain things that could lead to interesting roles in acting.
Yeah.
So yeah, surfing's one of them. I did trapeze at some point. I'd love to
Wow.
like do that again. I'd love to get better at singing.
Okay.
I do that a little bit alone, but not in front of people. So getting the courage to do that. I love
Karaoke.
musicals.
yeah, you can do karaoke.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love musicals. So the potential of being in a musical.
It's like La La Land.
Oh my gosh, I love La La Land. I love La La Land.
I've never seen it, but
What? Oh
no.
my gosh, you have to watch it. It's so good.
It's like literally, it's like watching a Disney movie where it's like anytime they talk, they just start singing, and then they'll do their
Whoa!
scene, and then it's over, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, well,
Yeah.
there it is, right?
Yeah. Well,
I'm-
La La Land has a little bit less music than I think traditional
Okay.
musicals do, but the cinematography is just incredible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you one last question before we wrap up,
Okay.
as we're already hitting that mark, which is
Okay,
crazy.
that is
Yeah,
crazy.
it's going by so fast.
Yeah.
Let's see. What can I ask you? One last question. What do you find fascinating about acting? Is there anything that sticks out to you where it's just like, like, I'll give you an example. My mother told me before I can walk, I was already rehearsing Star Wars lines. I was just so captivated, right? And I was talking before I could walk and whatever else. For you, when it comes to acting, what sort of just like satisfies your soul and your craving for this craft?
I think it's the escape. It's this like living other characters, living other experiences. I'm a very empathetic person, so kind of being able to tap into that and like fulfill that need of like empathizing and feeling and then yes, there's that part, and then there's the part of escaping. Like when I was little, I'd watch a movie and then I'd dance around for like an hour after, and live in that world almost. Just escape, and that's what fascinates me most about it.
Yeah.
is- yeah.
It's very intriguing, and
Yeah.
it's a very solid answer and a good way to end the interview. So
Yeah.
thank you. What a beautiful way to end our show. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
That's it, guys, for today's episode of Rising Stars. I'm your interim host, Sean Watt. This production sponsored by Urban Eats MTL. What a pleasure to have Salomé on our show
It
today.
was such a pleasure. Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
take care of yourself,
Yeah.
and I hope to see you in the future.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Bye, guys. See you in the next episode.